What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the RBI podcast, Richie's Baseball Index. My name is Richie. I am your host. We are back for episode number 6. I want to send apologies to the supporters and the listeners for the delay. I know this is coming out on Friday. Usually comes out on Wednesday, but I had some technical difficulties. First, I delayed it because I wanted to wait on Correa news. Last night, I went to do it. The software I used was not working. It said something with I don't know. I'm not a tech whiz, but I figured it out, and I think we're good to go. Hopefully I can get through this, and we can talk some baseball. Like always, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok right there. I put up some more rankings today. I did a starting pitcher ranking. Yesterday was shortstops. It's just one of those trendy picture videos when you see like the top 30 or 20 players at the position or whatnot. I also do it on my main channel, which is Richie Dortis. I do football there mostly, but baseball's my sport. That's why I do a podcast as well. Anyway, like I said, follow me on Instagram, on TikTok at RBI Pod. Subscribe to the channel at RBI Podcast. And you can also find this on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor is probably the least known, but Apple and Spotify, you know what to do. So number 6, the episode Can Correa Pass a Physical? I thought it would be an appropriate name for this. We got this. We got Dalton Varsho trade, Michael Conforto signing. Trevor Bauer situation is back up, and he's back in the league. Some small signings and some World Baseball Classic news that I wanted to get into. But besides that, I think that's all we got for my intro, and we're gonna get going right now. There we go. So the first thing I wrote down was, what the heck is going on with Carlos Correa? I've waited to try to get some news on this guy. A little insight today came out, but it's so confusing, I guess you would say. No one knows what's going on really, except for I guess John Heyman and some of these beat reporters. But there was a report today, meaning Thursday, that says Carlos Correa, Scott Boras is telling other teams it's the Met game or whatever, it's just the Mets. So if you're a Mets fan like I am, or any Mets fans, it looks like he's going to end up on the Mets, because no one else really is getting a chance. And I think that I don't think I know that is the biggest difference between this situation with the Mets and the one with the Giants, because we saw Correa, something happened with his physical, 6 hours later he was done. He was signed with the Mets. He agreed with the Mets. With this one, this happened December 24th. It's December 30th now, and he's still talking to the Mets. So I think that's a good sign for Correa's sake, because he's going to get that long-term contract, and also for the Mets' sake, because, they agreed to this deal. You would like to, obviously they agreed for a reason. You want to get it done. Carlos Correa, just as a baseball player, is a great player. I don't think he's worth $30 million. Maybe he kind of is, based on market value, and his counting stats aren't the highest. I don't think he's ever hit 30 home runs or ever drove in 100 runs. But his peripherals are very good. Last year, I think he had an 830 OPS, 290 average. His defense was a little weird last year, even though it was still above average. But he's also moving to third, so it should be better because it's less range, less you have to worry about, because Lindor is going to cover a lot of it. He just has to worry about basically catching the ball and throwing the ball. Very limited movement you need at third, besides in on bunts. But he's an athlete. He'll figure it out. My thing with Correa is, what's confusing to me is that we've seen Jock Peterson in the Angels. We've seen Michael Brantley in the Blue Jays. Carlos Gomez trade with the Mets way back when. They fall through. We've never seen two fall through. At least I've never seen it. And I think that's what makes this situation so weird, is that I don't, especially the fact that the injury hasn't come up yet. We heard about, he got his ankle went numb sliding, but that was it, really. I thought, maybe it was his back or his elbow or shoulder, something that, we've seen before with Correa. But this happened in 2014. He got surgery for it, and it really hasn't come up since, knock on wood, for his sake. And I just don't know what they're seeing in the physical. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I don't see the physicals, but something's concerning them, and it's such a weird and peculiar situation, and hopefully it comes to fruition soon. I saw reports, like I said, John Heyman said it's the Mets game right now. Then I've also seen it's a 55% chance. Then I've seen 51%. Like, there's these random numbers getting thrown out. I wouldn't trust the numbers as much as like the actual report of like there's radio silence, which isn't a bad thing because that just means there's no leaks right now. Apparently, Steve Cohen was not happy that there was leaks last week, but like I say all the time, like Cohen has moved in silence so far. Like with Nimmo, he moved in silence. With Lindor, he's moved in silence. The Scherzer one was the only one where it was kind of out there, but even then, it didn't pick up steam until like the night before. Like we've seen like Wilson Contreras, we saw for like 2 weeks that the Cardinals were interested in him. Trey Turner, as soon as the offseason started, we saw that they were interested in the Phillies were interested in him. Um, like Aaron Judge and obviously the Yankees, but like the Giants, if they were to land him, they were interested the entire time. The Cubs, it was basically a done deal once everyone else signed. The Padres with Bogarts was out of nowhere to me, but my point is that these like Cohen has kept his moves like pretty quiet until they actually happen, and this is no different. I did like right before Correa signed with the Giants, we got a report the Mets are in on him, and I'm thinking, oh, it's just a Boris way of like getting money up, which no problem. I said that. I think I'm pretty sure I said that last week, and it turns out they were actually in on him, and the Mets like they got Ottavino, they got Nimmo, they got Robertson, they re-signed Diaz, they lost DeGrom, they got Verlander, they signed Kodai Senga. They sign Quintana. Like, they do all these moves. I apologize if I miss one. I'm sure I'm missing one. And Carlos Correa is the cherry on top. They've already had a really good offseason. This makes it like a phenomenal offseason. I think what's important was what I'm trying to say is that the Mets offseason is not lost if for some reason this falls through. It just feels like it is because he's right there. Like, if we never signed him and we were never in on him, then we'd be like, all right, whatever. We weren't supposed to get him anyway. But now that we have him, it's like you're so close. Like, you didn't think it was possible, and now it is. Like, for like a team like the Detroit Lions or the New York Jets, New York Giants weren't supposed to be good this year. Seattle Seahawks. Now they're in that striking distance where they can make the playoffs. Carolina Panthers, perfect example. You're in that striking distance. Now you want to get there. You don't sit there and go, oh, we weren't supposed to be here anyway. Now that you're there, you want it. And this is the same situation with Correa. I think the whole Lindor connection would be cool. He'd be playing third. I wouldn't worry too much about his defense, to be honest. He's a phenomenal defender. He's got a great arm. Good athlete. We'll see with the leg, like we keep saying. I do think the Mets end up getting him. If they don't, though, like I said, I think the Mets have less to lose than Correa does because I don't know where he turns besides the Twins. And I don't know if he wants to go back to the Twins. I don't know the guy, so obviously, but I don't know, like, maybe the Red Sox come in on a short-term deal. I don't know if the Yankees would. They seem pretty sold on this kid Volpe and Peraza. Who else is out there? Like, the Astros aren't going to re-sign him. Like I said, Minnesota. Maybe Seattle does something. I don't really know where they go from there if he doesn't sign with the Mets, but it's looking likely. It just looked like there was a delay because of Christmas, which, okay, celebrate with your family. No problem in that. But now it's like, I feel like it's just a matter of not when, not if, but it's also a matter of like what's the contract going to look like. How, like, I want to see the actual details of this contract when it comes to fruition, no matter where he signs. I think he's going to the Mets, but we will see. Hopefully in a couple of days. A week from today, a week from Friday, this will be out on Friday. Last week the Blue Jays traded for Dalton Varsho. They traded catcher Gabriel Moreno and Lourdes Gurriel Jr., outfielder/DH. Good hitter, but this was a good move. I also think baseball fans were kind of like the whole Correa thing made them starving for news, and this trade kind of gave them that, and I think they overreacted a tad because I think Dalton Varsho is a very nice player, but I also think he got a little overrated. He's versatile. That's like his big thing. He catches and plays outfield. Like, we don't see that anymore or ever. We've seen a pitcher and a hitter before we saw a catcher and an outfielder, and now we got them both at the same time. Maybe Brandon Inge is the closest who played everywhere. But last year he had 235 with a 745 OPS, 27 homers, 74 RBIs. But he had the worst expected batting average in baseball at 214 and the 25th percentile hard hit percentage, which tells me he got a little lucky last year. But even if those numbers even out, I still think the OPS stays the same, but I think that the home runs come down because Chase Field, the ball flies there. He's moving out. I think it's still Chase Field. I don't even know. I'm sorry if it's not, but Arizona, the ball flies there. Toronto, not so much. Like, it's still a good hitting park, but it's not Chase Field or Arizona. I'll just put Arizona for now. But like I said, he's versatile. That's like the big thing with him. He's a very good fielder. He's got a very good arm. He's actually a very good framer too, which is like that's weird for someone that's also an outfielder. I think it's a good ad. I think he's going to start in left because they have Kirk still and they have Danny Jansen as their catchers. But they'll put him in left. They got Kiermaier for center. They got Springer in right. Then you go around the horn. You got at third, Matt Chapman. You got Bo at short. Espinal probably at second. Vladdy at first. And then like you still have Kevin Biggio, who I'm not a big fan of, but he's still on the team. And they made some moves like they traded for they signed Bassett. They traded for Eric Swanson. They got more athletic because Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Teoscar Hernandez, who are no longer on the team anymore, could rake, but they could not play the field to save their life. And now they like this guy Varshall's an athlete. Kiermaier's an athlete. Springer is going to be becoming a better athlete now that he's in right field. Vlad Jr. just won Gold Glove. Bobichet's kind of very bad at shortstop, and Matt Chapman's a Gold Glover. But my point is that I think this is a good move because you peg him in to a team that has a core already. He doesn't have to be a core player. I feel like with the Diamondbacks, they were looking for him to be a core player, and he wasn't that. Gabriel Moreno has a shot to be that. And so I think this is a good move both ways. But so for the Blue Jays' sake, they got Varsho. Moving on to the Diamondbacks, I'm going to start off with Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He had a down year last year. His power numbers were way down, but he'll be fine. He still hits the ball extremely hard. And he's known for his offense. His defense is putridly bad. I'm putting that nicely. He's probably going to be the DH for Arizona. Their outfield right now is probably Corbin Carroll. Jake McCarthy's a pretty good player. And they just got Kyle Lewis, so he can play there. They got Alec Thomas, who I think might get traded, but he's a very good outfielder as well. Ketel Marte is an athlete. So their defense is very good in the outfield. They have athletes. They have speed. So getting a guy like Gurriel gives you a bat that you could put at DH. You leave Christian Walker at first base for now, and you move from there. I think the Diamondbacks are in a good spot. They got Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly at the top of their rotation. Gallen's one of the underrated pitchers in baseball, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinions. So he's going to become he's like the new Sandy Alcantara, which is funny because I'm pretty sure they got traded for each other. Or they were linked in a Cardinal, Marlin, Diamondback way, but I don't know how it works. But they were kind of linked. I'm pretty sure they were traded together. But it's just how do I put this? A lot of these networks and analysts, and rightfully so, I've been on the Diamondbacks for a while, so I can't even blame them. But a lot of people are saying, hot take, this team's going to be really good. The new Orioles, they come out of nowhere. But this is very on track. They have these young guys. They have Carroll coming up. Alec Thomas came up. Christian Walker's a really good hitter. Gurriel's a good hitter. Now they got Marino, who can maybe be that guy. Ketel Marte had a down year. I'm sure he'll be fine. But they're on track to really develop this team and bring them up as one. Kind of like Seattle did with Julio. Kind of like the Padres did with Tatis. A lot of those young teams that kind of flipped the switch. The White Sox a couple years ago. The Rangers are trying to do it right now, but they're also spending money. And I think it's cool. I like that the Diamondbacks are going to be good again because they haven't been since Goldschmidt left. And, Gurriel's a really good hitter. I think he'll bounce back, especially the way the ball travels in Arizona. Didn't say it there. And then Gabriel Moreno, I couldn't find too much on him, because I was trying to find his prospect rank, and I couldn't. I don't know why. But I know he's a top catching prospect. He hit, I believe, 300 in the major leagues last year, but very limited time, not a lot of power. And he sat behind Kirk, but you see the talent there, you see the bat-to-ball skills, and I know this is a good move for them because Varsho was kind of stuck in a shuffle where he wasn't going to be a part of the future, but he's still a good player. So get your value out of him. I think they got overvalue for him. I think this is a good move for both teams because Varsho was probably the best player they were going to get unless they were getting Brian Reynolds. And I don't think that just Gabriel Marino and Gurriel was getting you that. I think that would have cost you a couple of better prospects. And I don't know if they wanted to do that. So this is a good move for both teams. The Blue Jays are in a spot where they can really go for it. And I think adding a piece rather than a haul was smarter. And the Diamondbacks getting younger with also getting a veteran bat at the same time, kind of replacing someone that was in a like in no man's land almost with Arizona. And I feel like now they kind of both teams have solidified roles for both players. All three players actually. Gurriel will be the DH rather than a left fielder which is not good. Varsho can now focus on outfield but also be a catcher in an emergency situation. And Gabriel Marino can be groomed to be the everyday catcher for the Diamondbacks. So good on both teams. Not a massive move, but it's a quality move, and both teams probably made out well in this deal. We talked about the Giants before with Correa and how they missed out and everything, but they pivoted well, in my opinion, with Michael Conforto. Conforto got 2 years, $36 million with an opt-out, which seems to be the new wave rather than a 1-year deal. And I think Conforto has kind of got underrated in his career because he was supposed to be. He came up with House of Fire, hit the 2 home runs in the World Series, hit 270 with I think 8 bombs in like very minimal amount of games in 2015. But he played really well, got up to a red hot start in 2016. Went in the tank, went in the minors, and ever since then, he's just been a really consistent player. Besides last year in his walk year, or 2 years ago because he didn't play in 2021. Conforto career number is 255 with an 824 OPS, 124 WRC plus. Last year or 2021, I should say, he hit 232 to 738 OPS, which is still a 106 WRC plus. So he was a league average hitter at worst. He's also a very underrated fielder, in my opinion, and also numbers show it as well. But they also added Taylor Rogers to the Giants to go with his twin Tyler. My point is with Conforto and getting Mitch Haniger and getting Ross Stripling and getting Sean Manaea and making all these moves is that if you take context out of their situations, which I know you can't, Aaron Judge not signing with them, Carlos Correa signing and then not signing with them. If you take that out of the equation, they had a good offseason. They added 2 power bats. They haven't had a 30-homer season since 2004. They got 2 guys that could do it. Conforto can do it. Haniger can do it. They got 2 arms to back up Logan Webb to vamp their rotation back up after losing Rodon. They got a quality bullpen arm to go with his twin. And I think, I know that it hurts because you could have had Judge. You could have had Correa. And I still think they lack that star. I don't know if Joey Bart is going to be that. It doesn't look great. I know they got a couple young prospects coming up soon, but you can never always bank on those guys. But they have a good nucleus, I feel like. They have a lot of pieces, I'd put it that way. I think they're going to be like an 85-win team, 87-win team. They're analytically driven, so their pitching is going to make its way. They're going to find a way. They have a lot of starters. They have a lot of quality arms. They probably have Logan Webb, I think, is a 1. Stripling, I think, has an upside of a 2, but he's probably profiles more as a 3 or a 4. Manaea has to bounce back because he had a really bad year last year. I'm confident he will. And the Giants are in a good spot, in my opinion, because they didn't get the big-time players. They still got quality players to fill out their roster, so they're going to be, relevant this year. They're not going to stink. This is the opposite, not the opposite, but this is what the Boston Red Sox didn't do. The Boston Red Sox signed an aging third baseman and lost Xander Bogaerts after they could have gotten him for cheap earlier. Also, they lost Betts. They lost JD Martinez. Chris Sale hasn't panned out. So that is where the difference, I think, with those teams are. I know it's a weird comparison, but my point is that the Giants added quality talent that they can retain for multiple years. The Red Sox didn't. Conforto, he's my favorite player. That's why I'm bringing him up. But also, I think this is a pretty important move. He's probably going to bat 5th for them. I also think with the shift going away, he'll do better. I don't know. He's not. I think Corey Seager was the main guy that's going to really take off because of that. But Conforto's a pull hitter. hits the ball in the air a lot, like most players. He doesn't chase. He's 81st in chase, 81st percentile in chase rate, 87th percentile in walk rate, which is encouraging because even with like the shoulder injury that we hear about, why he missed last year, even with a down year, he still got on base. He still wasn't chasing pitches. He still walked. So that travels. No matter how your power is, or they talk about like you can never slump defensively. Well, you can never slump with your eye either. If you're not chasing pitches and you're just not striking the ball well, or you're not getting the results, that'll come. But that consistent knowledge that you will be on base, you will like take good at bats, is a comforting thing for a manager or for the GM now, and Conforto brings that. And so I think that's why at bare minimum he's league average, because of that. He has a very high floor. His ceiling isn't as high as it was when he came out of Oregon State, but like he had 33 bombs in 2019. He had a 927 OPS in 2020. In 2018, I'm pretty sure he hit like 27 homers. In 2017, same thing. So this guy, I feel like, is kind of underrated because he didn't play last year, because he had a down walk year. He also played in New York and he was compared to Judge early on, and then Judge took off. He kind of leveled out Conforto, and he settled into a nice career. I think this is a really good move. He has a chance to, like, he can hit 30 bombs and be a real quality hitter for you. And if the Giants for some reason fall out of it, you can get something for him at the trade deadline. I know it's not ideal, but there's a lot that you can do with Conforto. Things go really well, things go really bad. So, good move for the Giants. I just think for Giants fans, don't panic just because you didn't get Correa and Judge. I don't think you're ever getting Judge. Correa, that maybe it turns out to be a good thing that you didn't get him. But for now, be happy with what you have. Maybe you're in on the Ohtani sweepstakes next year. That is going to be so much fun to talk about next year, but we'll get there. But for now, be happy with this. I think you're a quality team. I think you're probably third in this division, or fourth, because I think it's going to be a super competitive division. But just be happy for now. Go into the season with very little expectations, and just you got some quality players. I'll just put it that way. So the Braves did it again. They broke my heart. They traded for Sean Murphy a couple weeks ago for some prospects in a three-way deal with the Brewers, who got William Contreras. And then they locked up Sean Murphy for 6 years, $73 million. My note here says the Braves do it again, because they did. We've seen the Ozzie Albies contract. We've seen the Ronald Acuna contract. We've seen the Spencer Strider contract, Michael Harris. A lot of those deals are buying out arbitration, but in this case, he's also buying 3 years of his free agency. And I think they undervalued him, but he took the deal. So that's good on the Braves, good on Alex Anthopoulos. Murphy's a really good hitter, really good fielder. He's an all-around quality catcher. I'd probably like Will Smith, JT Realmuto, Adley Rutschman. After that, like, you could take him over any of, like, I probably wouldn't take him over those top three guys. But after, like I said, after that, you might be able to put him fourth. I mean, I'm probably forgetting somebody, maybe like Cal Raleigh if you like power, but he's definitely a top 10 catcher. And this is a good move for the Braves, signing him long term, because Darno's leaving soon, and you have your catcher every day now. You don't have to worry about platooning. You don't have to worry about who's defensive replacements. He's an all-around player. You get a veteran, you get a Yan Gomes behind him just in case he gets hurt, and you live with it. I don't get how they keep doing this, because especially with the CBA that just passed and the players union and all that stuff, how like players are so willing to like take these deals. I know it's a lot of money, like $70 million is a lot, but you can get so much more if you hit the open market or just negotiate it a little bit more. But then again, I'm not an agent, I'm not a financial guy, but I know if that was in my shoes, I would take $73 million in a heartbeat. But if my agent's telling me like, hey, you can get $100 million in 2 years, do you want to take the risk? It's like, we'll see. I'm already making 18 from arbitration, or whatever it is, 15 from arbitration. But it's crazy to me how like their entire team is locked up, and it allows them to not have a great farm system because your team is locked in. Like, they're not going anywhere. Dansby Swanson left, so you have Vaughn Grissom, who I'm a little not iffy on, but I want to see it with him play shortstop. I think people are just already writing in that he's going to be really good. I think he's a quality bat, but we'll see at shortstop. They lost Freeman, they replaced him with Olsen. But now they're not losing Olsen for 8 years or whatever long, 10 years. Albie is for like 5. Grissom is on a rookie deal. Riley just got an extension. Acuna just got an extension. Now Murphy got an extension. Michael Harris got an extension. The only position on their field that's not locked up right now is left field. And that's why I thought Conforto would have actually fit them, or like a Will Myers. I think Jurickson Profar is still out there. So also they might re-sign Adam Duvall. But my it's just insane to me. Spencer Strider is even locked up. Max Fried's going to be a free agent. That's going to be interesting next year. I don't know if he gets one of those team-friendly contracts. We've seen it with Dansby and Freddie already. I don't know if Fried is a part of that mix, which would be insane to me because Freeman was your best hitter on that team, and Fried was your best pitcher, and they retooled. I do think the Phillies and Mets had better off seasons than the Braves because they were more aggressive, but the Braves are in a spot right now where they don't really have to be. I think some fans are upset they didn't re-sign Dansby Swanson. I didn't love the deal at first with the Cubs, but then I looked into it. We spoke about it a couple weeks ago, and actually ended up being a good deal. But Murphy to the Braves, we saw that a couple weeks ago, and now he's signed long-term because, of course, he is. Those stupid press releases on Twitter are really going to bother me. I'm really hoping they don't end up getting Correa for 1 year and $20 million because it seems like the writing's on the wall there. But, let's hope not. I do respect the Braves, respect the heck out of them. They're the NL East champs, The division goes through them right now. I know everyone's putting the Braves and Mets in front of them, and not wrong for doing that. Like, they have super talented teams, but is there a chance 3 teams win 100 games this year in the NL East just because of the way the schedule's constructed with only, I think, 13 games against each other in the division now? So I know it usually never happens, but that division probably has the best shot to have 3 100-win teams. 2, not definitely, but I think if obviously they have a shot at 3, they have a shot at 2, but it's going to be tough to win this division. You can finish with 97 wins and finish 12 games out of first place because the Mets, Phillies, and Braves are all capable of winning 110 games. They also, like a couple years ago, won 85 each, and the Braves won the World Series. So good on the Braves. They're going to be quality for years to come, and this is just another example of how they're just a good culture and just how winning culture can grow on some guys, and it can be contagious. So another one goes for the Red Sox. Nate Eovaldi goes to the Rangers, 3 years, $63 million. I don't really blame the Red Sox for not signing him, though I know a lot of people like to make the Red Sox a punching bag, but in this case, I don't mind it. But 3 years, $63 million, maybe an overpay for Eovaldi, but the Rangers are going for it, and I respect that a lot because they got DeGrom, now they got him, they got Heaney. Their infield is set. I talked about Seager before with the shift, but what they're doing is they're just adding talent and kind of like what the Mets are doing, like buying out the prospect development years because the Mets system isn't that great right now, like past the top 5 guys. So them paying these short-term deals, big money, buys out that time and gives them time to develop the system. I feel like it's similar with the Rangers, but with a better system. Like, they got Leiter, they got Rocker, they got Josh Jung coming up. They have all these players, and now they have a rotation. I've got 7 guys listed here. DeGrom, Heaney, Perez, Eovaldi, Gray, Dunning, Odorizzi. I personally don't think Jake Odorizzi is a good pitcher, but he's a starter in the major leagues. That's 7 quality options. It also protects against injuries. Nate Eovaldi has had injury concerns in the past. So has Jacob DeGrom. And obviously, they're going to go as far as DeGrom takes them. But adding these guys, say DeGrom has to miss a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they can help you stay afloat, especially with that offense. That's why I had them ranked so high on my rankings on TikTok, is because I don't think you realize how much talent this team has. Like, I know their bullpen isn't great, but Seager and Simeon are both very good players. Nate Lowe, we talked about before. I know I talked about how I don't think they're going to be that good, but I kind of did a 180 on them because I was looking at their roster. I'm like, why not? The Astros and Mariners, I think, are clearly above them. I don't know. I'm comfortable saying clear with the Mariners, but there's a lot of talent on this roster, and adding Eovaldi is just kind of not anchoring the rotation, but giving some more security and more depth to it, definitely. And also, with the ceiling he has, can be a very quality arm in the playoffs if they get there. and can end up being there too. I'm being serious. Like, I know Heaney and Perez coming off really good years. John Gray's always been the stuff guy. But Eovaldi's probably the most decorated out of the 6 of the 7, because DeGrom obviously is 1. But Eovaldi's probably had the most success out of the other guys. So I think it's a really good move. 3-year deal, not that long of a contract, so it's less risk. And watch out for the Rangers. I really like that Chris Young is being aggressive with this team, because I think it sets a precedent. Like the Mets are doing it, the Rangers, the Phillies, the Padres, even I know the Braves, but they're signing guys. It sets a precedent to you have to go for it. And the Rangers, after years of not being good, are going for it, and I really respect it. So good on the Rangers. Go fight for the AL West. Go knock off the Astros. I don't know if you will, but go knock them off. Before the last 2 topics, I just wanted to get some smaller deals out of the way. Craig Kimbrell got a 1-year deal with the Phillies. Rich Hill, Dick Mountain got a 1-year deal with the Pirates. Gene Segura got a multi-year deal with the Marlins, who it's a quality move. Yeah, those are the 3 moves I highlighted. Corey Kluber went to the Red Sox also. That's a quality move as well. The Red Sox didn't do that much. They got some veteran talent. They might be looking at them as trade pieces. Same thing with Craig Kimbrell or Rich Hill. Like I don't know how good Kimbrell still is. Rich Hill is just the guy that keeps going. But Kimbrell's in a situation where he doesn't have to be a closer. He I think Sir Anthony Dominguez is going to be the Phillies closer. But if he can find something with Philly, that's a really quality arm in their bullpen. And we've always made fun of the Phillies bullpen, especially as a Mets fan, but they did a really good job down the stretch last year. I think Zach Eflin's going to hurt more than they think losing him, but Craig Kimbrell on a 1-year deal was a low-risk, high-reward type move. Rich Hill, like I said, it's a sign to get traded. That's what the Pirates do. And, these are some short-term, small money. Will Myers to the Reds, that's another move. That's another one, just like sign to get traded. And just some moves that I just want to catch up on some guys that deserve some credit for signing contracts and being Major League Baseball players. I saw today they narrowed down the 3 teams for Brian Reynolds. I think it was the Yankees, Mariners, I forget the third team. I'm not sure, but moral of the story is the Mariners were the favorites. If they do this, I will take everything back about what I said about them not getting a shortstop, because you're adding a quality bat there. I don't know if the Pirates want to trade him. I don't think they are going to, but Mariners seem like a good fit. They still have a ton of prospects. He's not going to cost as much as it costs you Castillo, and you can fill him in there in left field. He kind of takes Winker's spot. You move Hernandez to DH, and then you have they lost Haniger. I guess you go Julio in center. I guess Kelnick or Winker and right. Or no, Winker's on the Brewers now. What am I talking about? But you add a quality player, definitely. He would definitely make your offense better, and they kind of need it, because outside of Julio, France, and Raleigh, they're kind of lacking a little bit. Colton Wong adds a little bit of thump, but not really. So I think, like I said, the good move. Suarez is also a good hitter as well, and just adding bats, also adding just pure talent to a roster that's already got a lot of it, and like I said, it's not going to cost you as many prospects as it cost Castillo, or it's not going to be big money like Robbie Ray, Julio Rodriguez with a massive contract as well. I think that I don't know if the Yankees are going to pull the trigger on him. I think they should. I thought Conforto was a good signing for them too. I think any left-handed outfielder can fit the Yankees right now. But with Reynolds, it's just like the Pirates. It's just, when are they ever going to be good? They have Brian Hayes. They have Oneil Cruz. That could be a sick left side. It's only a matter of time before one of them gets traded. I know they just signed one of them to an extension. I think they signed Hayes to an extension, but it's not that hard to move off of. And because of that, the prospect haul is going to be more. And maybe that's what their plan is. I don't get it. I don't even know who their ace is right now. And it's sad, because the Pittsburgh Pirates fans haven't had a winning team. They had a couple with the McCutchen Marte teams, but besides that, when have they ever been good? And it's frustrating for me that this happens in baseball, and then I gotta hear people complaining about Steve Cohen when there are teams that literally do not spend any money. like the Oakland A's I talked about last week, Trevor May signed with them. I'm pretty sure he's their highest contract, which is insanity over a middle reliever. And it's just a shame that this kind of stuff happens. Like, anytime a bad team touches a good player, they get traded. I'm hoping it doesn't happen with, like, the Royals with Bobby Witt or, like, Vinny Pasquantino. But it might happen. Like, I don't know, and I'm hoping it doesn't. Because the more quality teams that are in baseball means the more talent spread out, which means the more better games we can watch. And just better for the game in general. Because no matter where you look, you're seeing a talented player rather than 5 on one team, because they traded all of them to the one team, and all the team has is prospects when about 80% of them don't pan out anyway. So one thing I wanted to get into was the Trevor Bauer situation. I know it's like a lot of legal stuff that I am not in any position to talk about. I don't know what happened. I don't know what didn't happen. But all I know is that suspension was reduced to 194 games, which he has already served because of time missed last year and the year before that. And he is now reinstated. He is now back in Major League Baseball. I think the Dodgers have like sometime in January to release him. And he's probably going to get released. Like this situation, it's just whether he did it, whether he didn't do it, whether he's telling the truth, whether he's lying, whether he's supposed to get charged, whether he's not, whatever. But it's another notch on a distraction. Trevor Bauer has been open that teammates weren't the biggest fan of him. Cut himself with a drone in the world, like during the World Series. Now has this. I don't care too much about like the vlogging and the like the extracurricular stuff, like the YouTube and all that stuff. I don't care about that stuff, but like throwing the ball over center field, like really, like getting drafted and causing a rift as soon as you get drafted as well, like that's another thing. Like, you're in no position to do that, but you did it anyway. There's a reason why like teams are going to touch him, and it's not specifically for this reason, but this thing that just happened is another thing that has caused a distraction for this guy. That's why I don't know if a good team is going to sign him for. No one's going to give him a lot of money, obviously. The Dodgers kind of got lucky with this, although I think they still have to pay him. I'm not sure 100% how that works. And it's just sad because he's such a world of talent. And, like, you know, he's doing the screaming and, like, the throwing. I don't even care with the warm-up routines. I don't care. Like, that's how you get ready. That's how you get ready. It's just, like, there's sometimes you just got to know, like, you're a professional baseball player first. Whether you like it or not, like, we see this a lot in the NBA. It's your job. And obviously your job isn't your life, but in these professions, you're making millions of dollars. It consumes a lot of your life. And I think this is a problem with Bauer because I think he's trying to be more than a baseball player, which obviously you are more than an athlete. No kidding. Like, you have a family, you have friends, whatever, but you have to be present with your team. You have to be reliable. And what team is going to rely on him this year? No one good. Maybe he goes to a bad team and they trade him for a veterans minimum or whatever contract he's going to get. There's also a shot the Dodgers don't trade him or cut him. Like I said, it's just a matter of him not being reliable, not him being available. And this is just, like I said, another notch on his belt, another distraction, another thing that a team would have to worry about. Him doing something, I don't even want to say illegal because we don't know the legalities to what happened, but when it comes to something like that, like, it's hard to shake that. Like domestic assault, whatever. Hitting anyone, like assaulting people, robbing people. Like, he didn't rob anyone, but I don't know what he did. I don't really want to talk about those like uncomfortable details because it's not really important right now. What's important is that, for a baseball standpoint, what's important is that we do not know if we can rely on this guy. Is he going to be worried about going hanging out with King of Juco or being a Major League Baseball player? And if you want to go do that, go ahead. I think what King of Juco is doing is so cool. It's so fun to watch. Like, it's cool to see a guy like setting the Shohei Ohtani splitter and hitting a homer off it. Like, that's cool to me. But my point, like, if you're a Major League Baseball player, you have to be a Major League Baseball player first. and I think he's having a tough time figuring that out. And I don't know what team's going to take a risk on him because of that. The last thing I wanted to hit on, just quickly, I thought it's really cool that MLB players are now allowed to play for Team Cuba in the World Baseball Classic, and years past you weren't allowed. I can go on a whole spiel about how why is Mark Stroman playing for Puerto Rico, but I don't know the rules exactly for it, but I think it's cool anyway. I think it's cool they play for Puerto Rico. I think it's cool when Italian descent go play for Italy. I think it's cool. Represent the country, represent your nationality. Play for America too. Obviously, a lot of players are playing for America this year. Trout, I know Harper was playing, but probably not anymore. Alonso, Goldschmidt. The pitchers are even good. Nestor Cortez is going. I think Merrill Kelly's going. I'm forgetting someone really good. I think Arenado's going. I could be wrong with these guys, but I know a lot of talented players are going. The Dominican team's insane. The Puerto Rican team is insane. And Cuba has a chance to be the same thing. Whenever we get a chance to watch free baseball, meaning bonus baseball, I'm going to do it. And I think this is the first year where social media and TikTok and Twitter are at an all-time high with the World Baseball Classic on, at least for my generation. I was 16 the last time this was on. So Twitter was people had it, but it wasn't what it is now. And TikTok for sure was not what it was. And I think because of that, it's going to blow up, and I think it's going to be great for our sport because it shows the amount of global talent we have. Specifically Shohei Ohtani, but also all the Puerto Rican players, Dominican players, Venezuelan players, Italian players, European players. All these guys are representing their countries to play in a tournament similar to the World Cup, which we just saw Mbappe and Messi have one of the all-time greats. Also, rest in peace to Pele. You will be dearly missed. You were one of the greats of soccer. I don't know soccer that well, but I know who Pele is, and I know he was great, so condolences to your family, and rest your soul, Pele. Anyway, so I think it's just so cool that there's a nation or global tournament for baseball because we don't get that a lot. The Olympics wasn't that cool because, one, there was no fans, and two, you're not getting the best talent. This is as close to the best talent as you're going to get. I love it. I think the World Baseball Classic is so cool. Players will play with so much passion and so much heart and desire because every game feels like a playoff game. You're playing for your country. You really can't play for more than that. You can play for your team, you can play for your organization, but your country is what you represent. It's what you bring to the table every time you step in a Rocky uniform or Giant uniform or Royal uniform. When you throw on the Puerto Rican uniform or the American uniform or the Japanese uniform, that represents a little bit more than just helping your team. You're rallying a country around you, and I hope that people realize that's why this is such a big deal to some of these guys, and it's really cool that it's back, and I'm so excited to watch it in March. I hope you guys are too, and yep, that's all I got for this week. So, like I said, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram. One of my latest videos should be over here. Subscribe here, or the other way around. I'm not sure how this thing works. So, anyway, I really hope you guys like this video. Like, subscribe, follow me everywhere. Follow me on TikTok especially. I like collaborating and engaging with you guys on there. Comment on YouTube. Comment me anywhere. I will put it on the podcast. I'm going to try to start doing that, having a section where I can read some comments, but we got to get there first. I got to get the comments first. So tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your acquaintances, tell your coworkers, tell your family members. I don't care who, but get the word out for this podcast. It would really be appreciated. But besides that, I will see you guys next week.